Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for your time today. Just waiting for some people to sign in. People are just rapidly signing in now. I'll just give them another minute before they come on board. Thanks very much for your punctuality, and I'll be right back in about 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, thank you. Hello, good morning, everybody. Again, thank you very much for your time. I've just delayed it for about a minute to allow people to sign in as they're signing in. Let me just kind of get the introductions out of the way. My name is Tommy Lee. I'm with Fanvil, based here in California, responsible for North America. Today, I'm going to introduce to you our new V series of IP phones. We provided a brief introduction in the past about our initial introduction of the V series, but the great news today is that we have this series basically budding in being qualified on the menu for many of the major PBX manufacturers. So for those who are on some of these platforms, you'll end up seeing these V series on the menu and being able to be rolled out, and makes life a lot easier for you moving forward. In addition to myself, some of the other differentiators is we also have sales engineers that are based in America timeframe. So in addition to me being able to provide support to you, our partners, we also have sales engineers in America that are based in the same time zone that could help you in real time in case you end up needing any help. So with that in mind, some of the housekeeping rules, we have a soft copy handout. So if you actually go to your webinar handouts, you'll be able to download a soft copy of this presentation. So you'll be able to go in, download it for any future reference. And in case you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll provide myself as well as my colleagues' contacts at the end of this slide set. In addition to that, if you have any questions, I would highly suggest that you go to the question box, which I will devote my time in addressing all the questions that are raised in response to this. But in the meantime, I guess everyone's pretty much muted now, so that we will just go ahead and proceed. Again, thanks for coming on board. What I have intended to show is basically I'm just going to provide 1 or 2 slides to talk about Fanvil itself for those who aren't familiar with Fanvil, and then get into the solution sets. And then from there on, I'm going to really provide a really deep, not deep, but at least a good overview about the differentiation of the V series IP phones, some of its highlights, and as well as the promotion programs that we actually have to kind of allow you to get started with NFR programs and things like that, as well as people who want to go ahead and buy in volume. Of course, we'll go ahead and provide those discounts to you moving forward. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and move on. For those who aren't familiar with Fanvil, we're quickly approaching our 20-year anniversary. We were established back in 2004. We actually own our own factories, responsible for production of most SIP equipment that are out there in the marketplace. That's what we do. I'll get into the solution set moving forward. But we have 3 R&D centers as well as factories located out in Beijing, Suzhou, as well as Shenzhen. And that we also contain all the different labs, as well as being able to double check the quality of our audio and all that to make sure that we get everything right the first time at the factory before we roll it out into the marketplace. Now, in terms of solution set, you could really divide all of our endpoints, which are all SIP-based endpoints, into really 3.5 separate categories. And what I mean by 3.5, it's really 3. You look at on top, we have SIP business phones. And today what I want to talk about is the V series phone, which the high end is actually shown here on the laser pointer. But ever since I came on board a few years ago, we began rolling out the X and the XU series. And these series have its own differentiation by the way we outline the keys and the way we outline it. We took a lot of looks at the way people go ahead and manage their phones based on the legacy phones and try to transfer a lot of that into the XU series. But what we sort of were missing as the market moved on was the integration of some of the features that were optional on the X and XU, which became integrated on the V series, which I'll go into in a moment. Beyond that, we also have some hotel hospitality phones. We have several different series to really address the cost-effective market while providing all the necessary baseline features so that our partners out there can go ahead and roll out these SIP phones into the room, not necessarily analog phones, but all of these are SIP endpoints, giving you the capability of upgrading all these hotels that decide to go into SIP. Besides the hotel phones, we also have the capability of providing SIP door access, intercoms, and public addresses. Now, these are all what we call our security line, or what we call our I series line. And if you talk about our I series, it ranges everywhere from a whole suite of intercoms. We have intercoms without cameras, and as well as different types of construction that'll give you the capability of applying it to many of the different applications, from indoor, located on this I-10, to really more external ruggedness, as well as located here on this I-12V as well that we see here. In addition to that, we also have door security, and this is just a small snapshot of the type of solutions that we're bringing out into the marketplace. Beyond the buttons, we're also starting to introduce things that being able to recognize facial recognition. We're really going deep into this, and all of this is based on a SIP interface. And we have a whole slew of selections that are outlined here on both intercom and door security. Not only do we have outdoor units that are really based upon ruggedness that is capable of handling high, hot humidity into cold weather, we also have indoor stations as well that is outlined by our i5 series. And this i5 series, what it does is really that it's been optimized to be able to be wall mounted or desk mounted, depend on the type of application that you want to have. Because with these units, what people want to do when they want to look at video based on our access points or even third-party access points, you can go ahead and review all of their video as well as audio based on a SIP interface onto these units. From the video perspective, which they tend to default to the H.264 codec, which is really the VGA codec that it supports, so that you don't necessarily have to have these phones mounted on a wall. You can go ahead and take a look at a flat screen and be able to provide a button interface or a touch screen interface here to be able to interact and see who's at the front door or who's at your gate, and then you can provide the local access keys as necessary moving forward. But last but not least, we also have public broadcasting. This is also a very big line of ours, namely the PA or the PA2 as well as the PA3 series. And what this does is this really provides SIP access as well as being able to provide multicasting as well as many of the different features located throughout many of the hosted PBX providers or on-prem PBX providers. This in essence provides really a SIP interface to many of the existing public announcement systems or anything that's basically based in analog. And I have a lot of previous webinars that I go into a deep detail in this moving forward. But tying all of these units together, we have a device management system, which we call FDMCS, which is really the Fanvil device management that's based in the cloud. And what this does, it really provides our partners that we do free of charge into you so that you can go ahead and provision all of these units together into the marketplace. Now, keep in mind that we also work closely with PBX providers to allow their PBX provisioning units. So depending on which one you want to use, you can use this to complement theirs on addressing units that aren't on their provisioning, or you could just use theirs. Either one, the idea here is that we make provisioning as easy as possible for our partners and provide the necessary tools. Now, with that said, I know we talked about the V series, but I want to introduce some of the products that we are also bringing out into the marketplace besides the V. For those who've been pretty loyal, and I've seen there's lots of people that do that and following Fanvil, we've also rolled out a Linkville line, which we actually have a portable Wi-Fi phone here. And this is something that's an alternative to DECT. This actually, when you pick it up, It complies to all of the hard ruggedness that we do to all of the outdoor access units that you've seen before, but provided really into a sleek, portable, what I like to call a Snicker type Wi-Fi phone that provides you Wi-Fi access for those people who move around within the office or within the building, and enable you to connect it to Wi-Fi throughout your access. And then beyond that, we also have a portable speakerphone that you can carry around with you to augment your laptop PC when you're traveling in the industry. But we're also bringing out a ceiling speakerphone as well, all that are SIP-based. And for those who have followed Fanvil for a long time, we used to have a speakerphone in the past, but now this is more specific in addressing a speakerphone that encompasses many of the robust SIP interface that we've brought into the marketplace over the last few years. Now let's get into the V-Series IP phones. As I mentioned earlier, many of the X and XU products is still our core product line. And by the way, the V-Series is not meant to replace our X or XU line. This is really made in enhancements of using our brand new chipset. But one of the things that we've done that was an option on our X and XU phone is that we've integrated Wi-Fi into really the top 3 phones that we have here. And when you really think about it, we realize the challenges that our partners face. And what we've done with our V-Series is really pack all the features that you would really need, in addition to putting together Wi-Fi that's integrated into top phones. On the top phone here, we have the V67, which is our Android-only phone. But for those who are just interested in a straight Linux phone, you could really look at 3 types. And what we recognize in these 3 types is you have 2 that are really what we call our baseline color that includes Wi-Fi on it. But we also realize that there's a marketplace for the really cost-sensitive baseline phone that we call the V62. And here we have really a monochrome screen that takes many of the baseline features that we have here, which is Gigi, providing many of the advanced conferencing units brought into all of these one phones, but brought down to a case where people are just primarily interested in what we call a general dial tone interface and dial tone needs. You can really settle for the baseline V62 and move up as you go ahead and see needed under a minimum baseline thing. So the choice that you need to go is very well compacted for your particular choice. Now I'm going to go into some of the features, but before we did that, our team has generated a video that I'd like to go ahead and provide to you so that we can go ahead and provide this interface. I think in order to do this, I don't know if I can do this in V mode. Let me see if I could escape the V-Series mode in doing this. Hang on just a moment as I share the screen. I bet that video probably took away a lot of my thunder, but in essence, what we've shown here is really the video version that kind of go over as many of the features. Now, that video version isn't available on the PDF version, but if you want the video for whatever reason, we'll have it uploaded into YouTube for your specific reference moving forward. Now, kind of going over a lot of the idea here is that the audio video conferencing and some of the differentiators that the video doesn't cover is the fact that our V62, our baseline 64 and 65 supports up to 6-party audio conferencing. What does that really mean? I mean, very often, like this webinar, a lot of people really came together because you received an invite, you got a registration, you probably got a calendar invite to say, come on over at this time. But there's a huge audience out there that likes to go ahead and puts together a meeting asynchronously. So if I were to call somebody else like John Smith out there and want to go ahead and start bringing people in the past, many of our phones were just limited up to 3 people. But now what you can do is really asynchronously bring in 6 people up to between the V64 and V65 and up to 10 people on the V67, which is our Android phone. And that's when you can really asynchronously bring in these people in. And what that really kind of flexes is that the CPU that we put into these phones really do support the capability of having multiple conferences that you can asynchronize within one single phone. Having stated that, of course, the Android 9.0 operating system, this talks a lot about the Android system that's within this phone. And this is really one of the later copies. Now, I get a lot of questions from the audience saying, oh, no, my mobile phone is very different. This is not to be confused with the mobile desktop phone Android that you have. This is really some of the desk phone capability. And it's one of the later versions that are out there in the marketplace that really goes in and you can load up whatever customized applications that you might have to run your specific thing. But the good news is that this puts you really and makes you sort of forward compliant for many, many years moving forward. In addition that we wanted to show, we've also had a backlit keyboard. We kind of went pretty overboard in being able to provide this backlit keyboard, but many people can go ahead and write in the dark. We see this as sort of a nice feature in terms of being able to enhance, color in a low lit situation. Beyond that, we've also been able to upgrade Bluetooth to Bluetooth 4.0, which really provides really wider compatibility into many of the remote call control headsets. Many people use third-party headsets out there that needs to be able to pick up calls. I mean, this is far more flexible in being able to give that to you. The only exception here is that on the baseline V62 that we show in the lower left-hand corner here, that one, if you want a Bluetooth, you could use our Bluetooth dongle to be able to plug into that, use on a case-by-case basis for you to connect either to Bluetooth or to be able to provide a Wi-Fi dongle. This was the same capability that we provided to the X and XU series as well before moving forward, but all the rest of the line from the V64 and the V65 moving forward, the Wi-Fi is automatically, as well as the Bluetooth, is automatically integrated into the actual unit itself. And for those who've actually dealt with VoIP solutions for many, many years, people realize that the hook switch has always been sort of an Achilles heel with many of the designs. It's usually the first hardware device that falls. And again, to increase the reliability of our phones, one of the things we've done is being able to make it solid state so that on many of our phones, on the V series, you can go ahead and move forward and be rest assured that this solid state hook switch is something that'll increase the reliability of your endpoint moving forward. Again, enhancing many of the angles with the V67 as well as the V65, which is our Linux phone. So when you look at it, if you don't really have a need for Android, I then will point you to the V65, which is our high-end Android. And it really provides all of the basic tools that you need. And I'll go into a deeper dive into what the V65 offers in the next few slides, but it can go ahead and slide the displays as you see here. The V64, on the other hand, is a static display, but if you don't need that, that's sort of what we call our main baseline unit. So for people who don't need that with a smaller display, then the V64 might end up suiting your needs. Of course, we also provide antibacterial surface protection. So if you want to go with the tilt screen, we also provided a lot of the antibacterial. One of the things that has propped up over the last 2 years is a lot of people with OCDs. I'm probably guilty of one of them as well. So we decided to really put in many of the antibacterial plastics because we realize many of the desk phones are used by more than one person in the public, and we try to do whatever we can to try and restrict or at least resist some of the bacteria growth that shows up on these desk units. Then, of course, you have built-in privacy. You know, many people out there who have laptop computers will know what I'm talking about, is that we actually built onto the V67 is the one Android-based camera that actually has a slide set that you can go ahead and have a sliding plastic that you can actually cover the camera so that you could be rest assured that you know, your phone isn't necessarily, you know, spied on by any unknown person on the outside. Then again, coupled with our V67 as well as our V65 as well, it can also serve as the input for monitoring many of our units here, whether you use our video-based I-series, access points, and intercoms. You can actually use our V65 or V67 that's shown here to really be the indoor monitor, because one of the things that we've done to our phones is incorporate the H.264 video codec into the 65 as well as the 67, giving you the capability of monitoring many of the different intercom as well as the door access units, and also providing lots of key access, giving you the remote keys so that you could centrally unlock or lock the phones or monitor the specific cameras that use the H.264 codec and see where things are. And of course, this is just an alternative to the i5 series, which we have as the indoor stations that you've shown here. Looking at this, of course, easy to use deploy. I want to talk about all of the V series as well here. Here's another snapshot of the V65, which is really our Linux version, showing here that we can basically show all the different things. And you can actually use our FDMCS to really deploy many of these lines moving forward and using our unit, or you can use many of the units that we work with many of the major cloud-based PBX manufacturers to go ahead and deploy our phones accordingly. Here is more of a deeper unit here that I wanted to show. I'm not going to go into all of the deep things, but as you can see here in our V67, we've gone ahead and really differentiated ourselves by putting up to Android 9.0 and parting up to 10 audio synchronous calls, as well as up to 2-party video calls, all within one phone. It's really everything that you need in an Android interface using our interface, or you can download your own. Our Linux version for the V65 really incorporates almost all of the features that the V67 offers, less the Android feature as well as the camera, but this provides the tilt screen and all of the necessary features that I mentioned earlier before, the GigE interface, the Bluetooth, the Wi-Fi interface, all into one according to with an antibacterial surface, as well as being able to have a tilt screen moving forward. Then we have the baseline, which is really the V64. This really provides many of the same capabilities as the V65, less the video screen if you don't have any need for video, as well as the tilt. But outside of that, we provide many of the different features on the V64 to cover perhaps most of all of your needs moving forward, along with the GigE interface. Coupled with that, then we have for baseline. And when I say baseline, this is not what I really call baseline, because it does support GigE interface, integrated Bluetooth, if you could do this with the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth option as an option, but it also supports the 6-party audio conferencing all on one phone as well. So all of these phones that you see here in the V series are also wall mountable as well. So you can go ahead and do all that. And as I mentioned earlier on, we also are working with and on the verge of either having it rolled out or already on the verge of being rolled out in many of the different SIP PBX manufacturers out in the marketplace. So feel free to go out there and do that, and we'll be more than happy to support you, and they'll be able to support you either way. This is just a partial list, but we also have a far-going list, and this is growing on a daily basis. Now moving into promotions. What I want to do here is really outline some of the promotions that we have in case people are interested in coming in. We have some of the immediate rebate plans for the V67 phone. If you want to do this, you can get basically a $20 rebate for each of the V67 if you purchase 5 or 9, or if you purchase 10 or above, then the rebates get a lot higher for many of the different rebates you have moving forward. You can contact our distributor, which I'll go ahead and give you an idea of all of our master distributors moving forward that you can contact to get all of these free devices moving forward. In addition to that, For those that are also interested in our business phones, we are also promoting some of the business capabilities of our Wi-Fi phone as well. So if you are a big fan of our XU series products, which will still continue moving forward, you can go ahead and buy 20 of these marked units and also just spend an extra $20 to earn one free, W611W for you to go ahead and kick around and use as sort of a test drive unit as well. And we also have one for our V series. So if you want to go ahead and buy 10 of these, you can go ahead and get an extra one for 10 US and pick up one for a sample in case you're interested in evaluating our wireless product moving forward on the V series. Then, of course, we have a promotion program just talking about our Wi-Fi phone as well. So you can go ahead and really talk about our demo program, which we offer 50% off of MSRPs. Moving forward, so you can go ahead and really get a good idea from our manufacturer distributors. You can talk to them as well as many of the other distributors I have listed in really finding out more programs. You can contact us as well as being able to, if you want to buy it in volume, you could also offer a 5% off of your price that if you buy 50 or more above moving forward. And these promotions are available between now until the end of March of actually, this is a mistake here. This is end of March of 2023. I just went ahead and caught that. Moving forward, we also have those who are interested in our security product. We offer different tiers of discounts depending on the type of pieces that you go ahead and buy. Again, these are all promotions that our distribution channel will be very familiar with. You can reach out and contact them and see which ones that you're interested. For those that we also want to buy a group discount, we also have a capability where you can buy different tiers. You can buy a combination of our phones, our V, our XU, our I, and PA series. And if you buy a combination that meets specific volumes, we can go ahead and provide volume discounts and send them out to you. And we offer extra discounts for those who want to focus in on our security as well as our V series products moving forward. So don't get me wrong, I think the idea here is we have sort of a promotion program that really allow us to get really above and beyond your cost points as well as you being able to meet your customer's point in moving forward with many of our new as well as our existing core lines moving forward. Who are our Fanvil distributors? We have a whole list of the master distributors here moving forward so that you can go ahead and reach out to them. As I mentioned, for those who actually are on board, you can download a soft copy on our handout section available in your client base. Now, that's all I have really, and I want to basically jump into the Q&A section, and I want to mention to you now in the Q&A section, I want to also introduce some of our team that works along with me to really bring all of these solutions back over to you. So with that said, I'm going to move on over to the questions base and see if there are any particular questions that anybody has put on here. Now, some of the questions that I'm reading here is the conference dependent on the number of trunks you have? No, actually, you can actually hold the trunks. The conferencing feature of the phone, as I mentioned earlier, is very different than the conferencing feature that you might have. So if you end up having like a SIP trunk that goes to your address, and all of a sudden, if someone were to call you, you can bring in another extension onto your phone if they're internal to your unit, or if you have an outside unit and they basically call you, instead of having a busy call, you can actually conference in and hold and actually make another call going outside and bring somebody else in, whether it's their mobile phone or dialing in their extension as well. I hope that answers your question. If you're remote from the main office, you will still get video on the door box at the main site. Let me see, main office. Yeah, in fact, if you're talking about looking at our access phones, there are third-party mobile applications that we work with third parties. And as well, I think within a month or two, we're going to be rolling out an actual Fanvil branded mobile phone that we actually have our names on it so that you can see both video as well as audio from our access points as well. But up until that, Fanvil mobile phone applications available on both iOS as well as Android, we've actually tested many third-party mobile apps that you can be anywhere you want to. You can log in and be able to provide access to that mobile device and being able to gain both video as well as audio access, as well as being able to send in whatever key code you need to send people in. What is the range of the wireless phone? The wireless phone will be proportionate to the Wi-Fi range that you have in your organization. So again, similar to your laptop or iPad or laptop, you know, the better the range within the access unit, the better off you are, because that unit is based on Wi-Fi access, and you'll be able to see the Wi-Fi strength just looking at the strength meter on the phone itself. So that's based on whatever capabilities you have. When will the FWCS function with NetSapiens? Yeah, we've worked with NetSapiens. In fact, I would say that most people like NetSapiens from their provisioning server, but they may not necessarily have all of the model numbers. I do know that NetSapiens is really good on bringing our phones on board, but say, for example, if you wanted to deploy some of our latest I6 features, which are door access features, right? That may not automatically appear on their menu yet. So what you can use is you can basically use their provisioning unit to deploy phones, and then you can use ours to basically mass deploy our I series. You know, we work our best based on demand as well as being able to have access to move those things onto their provisioning server, but as well, they have lot more endpoints than we do to go ahead and provision based on their needs, and they do a very good job in deploying our phones. But if you have other units that aren't on the menu, you could use FDMCS as an auxiliary to deploy ours until it shows up on their menu moving forward. Using the Fanvil iOS app will be capable of calling anywhere in the world. Yes, I haven't yet used it because it hasn't been released yet, because I do know that we're coming out with a Fanvil, but the idea there in the iOS app is as long as you can go ahead and have contact and reach the access unit. Again, it's a SIP phone on the access unit. So if you can contact the desk phone from any remote location in the world, you should be able to access it from any point and being able to go ahead and see whatever audio and video capabilities, assuming that there aren't any firewalls that block either or, you know, interfaces moving forward. Okay, that sort of seems like the bulk of the registrations and questions I have. I'll be more than happy to log on, but those are some of the questions that I have. If anybody has any questions, feel free to download this presentation from our handout section in your client. You have my email address located at the top of Tommy Lee, or you can reach the others who are all located across the pond in China. So feel free to go and reach out to either of us if you have any questions. I'll hang on for now, but until then, I want to thank you very much for your time, and feel free to reach out to me or you if you have any further questions beyond this webinar. Stay healthy out there, and if I don't talk to you, have a wonderful holiday and a happy new year. Take care. Bye-bye.